What's going on YouTube? It's Mr. Ferguson here once again. Thank you guys for coming back to Central North Carolina, back to my front yard where we are in the process of overseeding. And thank you so much for tuning in. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video so it can get out to other people in our neck of the woods in Central North Carolina, Southern Virginia, South Carolina, Tennessee. We want to be able to help people. That's the goal, whether it's mistakes that I made or advice that I give that you find to be helpful. We want our goal here in filming the overseeding process, which sometimes, as you guys have seen last video, can be frustrating. We can get impatient. It can be a challenge. So we're back here in the front yard. We're going to do a little bit of work today. I want to show you something off the tripod. I want to show you what I started, and then I said, nope, I got to film a video today anyways. I want to stop and finish this on camera and do it with you guys. I'm seeing more germination ever since this cold weather pattern has settled in here in North Carolina, meaning upper 50s, lower 60s at night, and our temperatures have not cracked 80 in the past 2 or 3 days. I'm seeing more germination. It is very positive. We talked about multiple cultivars can germinate at different times. So we just have to be patient, and we are seeing progress. I'm not seeing, but there's one area that I want to talk about here that I'm not seeing progress, and I am going to do something about that, and I'll show you why right now. So again, this has been the worst section. We're going to jump right into this video. The bank, I see baby grass everywhere. I'm not going to go show you, but it looks terrible now, but slowly this is going to become, I can already see some green haze right in front of the sign up there. Baby grass is coming in on the bank in the bare spots. Where I have not seen anything whatsoever, and I just feel really bad about it, and I should have fixed this a couple of days ago, but I haven't taken the time, and I'm going to today, is right along my drainage ditch. When Hurricane Debbie came, I mean, we had water, it was way up, right? It's pushing everything from uphill down right past my lawn, all the way through this ditch, and all the way down. There's a creek past the white car you see down there. So when we seeded, I seeded, I even said on the day, if you go back and watch the big day video, I said I was a little bit conservative in how I seeded the front lawn, and I opened it up a little bit more in the backyard. So I really feel like that being the case, plus I'm not seeing at all any germination, I needed to pay more attention to this section along the ditch line below the slope of the bank here. And that's what I'm doing right now. So as I told you in the beginning, I started and quit. You see, there's a lot of dead grass laying on top, a lot of rocks that have washed out of this drain pipe, and you can see some of it right here. I began just watering this morning. I'm like, you know what? I need to fix this, and I need to do it now. This looks a whole lot better as far as preparation for seeding than it did previously, but even now you can see there's still rocks in here that have just gotten washed down from other properties, and it's really aggravating, but it's just what you got to deal with downstream. And so I'm kind of throwing those just over there in the drainage pipe area for now. But this looks way better now, that if I throw seed down and cover it a little bit, I do need some more peat moss to kind of cover it. But with seed hitting bare dirt right here, I would feel a lot better about this. You can see some of the dead that I'm trying to rake out right here. You can see the line of maybe some of the mower and stuff right there. And then if I come down here, it's not as bad, but you can still see this is kind of what it's been looking like. I did hit this a little bit with the rake, but just areas where there's dead grass right here. Just this easy stuff right here that can just be taken off. And I didn't take the time to do it, or it's died recently. So we're mainly talking about this section forward with some of the dead stuff right here. So I'm going to put you back on the tripod, and what we'll do is while I'm just kind of clearing some of this out, I wanted to have a conversation about some of the questions and some of the things I've seen in the comment section that I was going to answer on the last video before we called the audible, and I kind of just got the voice the concerns out of my system. So let's throw you on the tripod. Let me finish raking some of the dead up, get it in the wheelbarrow, and we'll do some seeding after that as I answer some of your questions. All right, so let me grab Mr. Rake here, and I don't have a ton left to do, but I did want to try to rake and talk at the same time, and hopefully this mic will drown out any traffic that continues to come by my house. But I'm going to try to pick up some of the rocks and stuff that's right here and just clean this up, and then I'm going to just hand throw out seed. But one of the comments I've seen when I made the last video, a lot of people I think took that as I was complaining about the germination rate or the type of seed I was throwing down, and that is not at all the case. My seed, the GCI seed, is wonderful. I am not at all complaining about GCI seed. Your seed is tested, and so it has those percentage of germination rates because when it's tested, they know how to test that stuff and see is it going to have a high probability of germination or not, and they put that on the label. 90% is pretty good, 85% is pretty good. And so I am not at all complaining about the seed. What I am complaining about and getting nervous about is because the ground temperatures were so warm when I chose to go early in seed that I hope I didn't somehow, torch the seed. It's supposed to be put out in certain soil temps, which is below 70. I was going above 70. And so I was like, oh Lord, have I messed the seed up to where now I'm going to have to re-sow seed because I didn't put it out at the proper time, because the only time I've ever put out seed is at the proper time. So that was kind of what I was frustrated or concerned about there. Seeing the past 2 days since that video came out, seeing and walking around and looking a little more closely at germination, I am less concerned. I'm seeing more germination everywhere, and that's always the case. Every year you get a little like, oh no. But this section specifically, walking this, watering the lawn yesterday, putting some water out there to moisten the seed, man, I was like, yeah, this is not, I don't think there's anything that's going to come up right here. And so we need to definitely to do some reseeding here. The GCI turf type tall fescue seed is wonderful. If you pay for it, you're going to be pleased with the color, with the results. And don't forget, I haven't really talked about this a lot since we started overseeding. It has the self-repair capabilities in it. You may not get that in Jonathan Green. You may not get that in Scott's. You may not get that in other brands. With the GCI turf type tall fescue, once it germinates and comes up, it does have spreading capabilities to self-repair. So just keep that in mind as well. So this is what I have left, guys, of my 10 pounds. And here's the label, by the way. It's right here. You see germination rate, 90%. So it's been tested. This specific bag was tested on May 24th of 2024. So the label will tell you Firecracker, Avenger, Titanium is the cultivars, the percentage they're in here, or the origin, which is Oregon, is where it comes from. 90% germination rate on the seed, which is very high. 1.5 madder, but no crop seeds, no weed seeds. 10 pounds tested May 24th. Then you got GCI's mailing address, noxious weed seeds, none per pound. So you've got all that on the bag of seed. Every seed has to have this. If it doesn't, I wouldn't purchase it. But pay attention to your label. So while I throw some of this seed out, behind the camera and stuff here, I wanted to talk about pre-germinating the seed. I've heard from many of you, Mr. Ferguson, have you ever done pre-germinating your seed? Mr. Ferguson, I did it and it works out great. What's your thoughts on it? Have you ever tried it? And I was going to mention this as I started to say. I was watching one of Alan Haynes' videos, and he hit this topic, and every single thing he had concerns with is exactly the concerns I've always had about this as well, which was, number one, I know I've watched videos. I think I watched Connor Ward do his video on pre-germinating seed. And I'm like, well, what's the point? You got to change the water every 12 hours. There's something in the seed that if you keep it in the same water, it will kill the seed. So you have to change your water when you put it in the net. You dunk it in water. You keep it soaked in water. If you don't know, you've got to change it every 12 hours. If you don't change it every 12 hours, it will die. It will go bad. So you have to be on top of changing the seed. That's the first thing. Secondly, I was always, as Alan was pointing out in his podcast, Lawns Across America, well, how do you spread that? So once it germinates, let's say you get little root hairs, it's been, 3-4 days, and you can see that the germination process is sped up, obviously. How do you spread that? You've got wet seed now that you've put in a net, you've soaked for days on end, and now you're supposed to spread that evenly across your lawn. How do you do that? Well, apparently the way that some of the people are doing that is through Milorganite, apparently. Now other people may do it differently, but he said that what he saw most people were doing is mixing the now pre-germinated seed with Milorganite, and Milorganite and the seed would go down together. But still, he said one thing I didn't see on any of the videos is how people never showed actually evenly distributing the seed to their lawn. And I have to agree, I've never seen that either. And so even if you're saying, well, I mix it with Milorganite, it's fine, no big deal, it's easy to spread. I just don't see the point of how are you going to spread damp seed in your lawn, you know, with little root hairs coming out or little hairs from the pre-germination. How are you going to do that successfully and get it evenly distributed? I just don't see the need to do that. I've never seen the purpose. Now there may be, and as he mentioned, there may be a specific purpose where somebody did this and somebody's just taken it through the internet and said, hey, that's a good idea. Let's pre-germinate our seed and throw it out across the entire lawn. But maybe this was a method used for, you know, on a slope, on a bank, you know, because we know that with the rain, it can wash out, right? And so you need to really quickly, you want your seed to germinate there, because you don't want that seed, just like this ditch. I want this to germinate as fast as possible. This would be a prime candidate for pre-germinating my seed, because if we get a heavy rain, all this seed just washes down, right? That's why I may be redoing it. However, I just find that when you're pre-germinating, I don't know how you spread damp seed. Secondly, he talked about multiple blend seed like this. What if one cultivar germinates in 3 days, but another one in 8 days, and another one in 10 days? Well, now you've got one cultivar that's germinated. So how do you deal with that? Do you throw out the other ones and they're just a little head start? So it gets weird. So ideally you would just want to do one cultivar. If you're pre-germinating Kentucky bluegrass, it's 21 days to germination. You got to change your water every 12 hours. Are you going to change your water every 12 hours for 21 days to get germination from bluegrass? I'm not going to do that. I don't have that kind of time. I have no desire to do that. So with tall fescue, germination is, as you guys know, and that's why I had to reassure myself, between 10 days and 10 days to 7 to 10 days. So sometimes we get it in 4, but it's really between 7 and 10. And so we have to remind ourselves of that. So that's just some of the ideas on, I mean, we may do pre-germinating just as like, okay, I can say I did it and throw it out. But as far as like seriously doing it, I like the old fashioned way. And a good old fashioned rake, as you guys just saw me, because it works. I've had a beautiful manicured lawn by just raking out dead stuff, good seed to soil contact, water it, aerate, as he said, quote, aerate the pee out of it, the piss out of it, aerate it and let it grow. Like there's no need to and I think he's right. I think this method came about because of the age of the internet. Somebody, you know, saw it, thought, oh, that's what I'm going to do in my lawn. And it may be intended for a specific purpose or location. And somebody just kind of took that and ran with it as far as, hey, this is how you can do it and make it faster. All right, so I did a little more over here by this tree. This section a lot of times struggles with poatriv. It could be another year. I see a little bit of germination in some areas, even where the water would wash down this way again and washed all of our red rock. And I've had to get some of that out. Some of it I can't get out. It's just so tiny mulch, and it's just a cluster blank. So it's just a mess. So I've reseeded that. We're going to water that. Hopefully this will come in. There's seed already there, so it's not as bad, and it wasn't as necessary as the ditch. But I feel a lot better that we did this ditch, that I took the time. That's the thing. Sometimes we're sitting like, oh man, I need to rake that. I don't feel like it. I probably did not run the earthwise there. I probably didn't want to hurt the good grass. And so I see all this dead grass laying over. It's got to come out, in my opinion. What I've seen, so now I've got an area over here where I see some dead grass, and it looks like little baby grass is coming through that. But through the ditch, man, I didn't see anything. And so after 10, 12, 11 days, whatever, and I don't see anything, like, yeah, well, let's go ahead and redo this section and just be more confident. Plus, that's the last of my repair. I got a whole another 25-pound bag of seed coming if I need it. And if you're watching this and you're like, man, I wish I could do what you're doing. You can do what I'm doing. The first year I killed off my entire backyard. Everybody thought I was crazy. I started a little earlier than this. I killed everything off with Roundup, and I turned around and rented a core aerator. I aerated it, I seeded, I put down starter fertilizer, I sprayed it with, I believe, RGS at the time because I educated myself on what that was, and with what else did I put in there? Tenacity. And then I watered, and sure enough, when it came up, I was like, I did it. Oh my gosh. I said, if this don't, and I was praying, Lord, if this don't work, I'm in deep trouble. I'm like a moron. But it came up, it was the most, and I was hooked. And then that first mow, there's nothing like that first mow into your first lawn ever. You'll be hooked. It's like hitting that perfect golf shot in the center of the club face that goes long and straight, and you're like, man, I want to do that every time. And so it's just addictive. And so now I feel better about this. We've got germination on the bank. We've got now a redone ditch with less rock, less dead, more seed there. I feel more confident. So now I'm just going to take the hose and do some watering to get that moist. It's a cloudy 75-degree day right now up until lunchtime. So it's perfect conditions to wet it, and it should hold that water for a long time, even without peat moss. We're going to start getting into some different topics now as the seed begins to germinate. And we're not going to show you, oh my gosh, it grew 1/4 inch. Look, it's going to keep growing, obviously, over the next several days. But we're going to move into how we're going to fight Poa annua. Many of you have asked that. We are going to talk about ethofumicate. We are going to apply ethofumicate. It is safe for your seed. So you can put that down at time of seeding if you want. I forgot about it, didn't even think about it, but I could have. We know the stat that I constantly throw out, 1 September, 30 October, 80% of our POA in North Carolina germinate in this time frame, in North Carolina specifically, as well as maybe doing our first mow to let the existing grass and the baby grass catch up. So God bless you guys. Thank you for tuning in this Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next time.